Welcome to the community of
engineers, the change agents in the society.
Now let's see the deformations under axial loading. Let's consider a rod AB which is of homogeneous material of length, let's say L, and the cross sectional area A. Once this is subjected to a tensile load P, the stresses are produced inside the body. So assuming the stresses are within the limit of proportionality, means the stresses obeys the Hooke's law. Now using the expression of Hooke's law, that is as sigma is equal to E epsilon. Now as we can write this sigma as P upon A equals to Young's modulus, then we can write this epsilon as deformation upon the original length. Now the expression from this we deduce the expression for deformation under axial loading. So from this expression we have the deformation that is going to be PL upon AE. Now conditions for the applicability of this expression. Conditions for the expression first, the material has to be homogeneous. In this case the entire rod AB, that is of homogeneous material. Then uniform cross-sectional area, and third, loading is applied at the ends. Only fulfilling these conditions, this expression is usable. Now let's suppose if we have a component like this, which is not made up of uniform material, neither the cross-sectional area that is same all along, the application of forces is in between of the sections. So looking this expression, we can divide into this complete component into four sections. Let's say this is section 1 from, and this is section 2, this is section 3, and this is section 4, keeping in view the considerations which we have discussed just now. Let's say from here to here the length is L1, and for 2 section the length is L2, for third section the length is L3, and for fourth section the length is L4. This material is of, let's say, made up of some material, let's say with Young's modulus E1. Let's say this is also E2, and E1 and E2 are same, and this is of E3, and this is of E4. And we can see that the cross-section area of section 1 and section 2, that is same, apparently same. The cross-section area that is of 3 section differs, and further the cross-section of area of section 4 that differs. Now this is the case of multiple sections of one component, and to solve this we take this of total component, the summation of is equal to 1 to n pi li upon ai ei. Now solve an example for the case of deformation under axial loading, and this is the example of multiple section of the component, and we have to find the deformation, the total deformation of the component. And suppose this is made up of uniform material, that is of steel, with Young's modulus 200 gigapascal. Now the section of the complete component are section AB, section BC, and section CD, keeping in view the length and the application of forces and diameter of the cross-section area. We are divided this component into these sections, and further for own ease of computation we are using labeling this section AB with A1, section BC with 2 and section CD with 3. So actually we have to calculate the deformation for section AB, that is represented with 1. Then we have to calculate the deformation in section BC, that is sigma 2, and we have to calculate the deformation in section CD, that is deformation 3. So total deformation is going to be of the complete component deformation in 1 plus deformation in 2 plus deformation in 3. And to solve that, as per procedure, we have to make the free body diagram. Now this is for section AB, and we are going to use the basic expression, that is P1 L1 upon A1 E1. Now considering this free body diagram, we have to calculate the P1 using equilibrium conditions. And for that, summation of forces along x-axis is 0. So minus P1 plus 300 kilonewton minus 180 kilonewton plus 120 kilonewton equals to 0. After solving this P1 is going to be 240 kilonewton. Now we have all the values to use in this expression. So for the deformation in section AB, or section 1, is going to be this P1 L1 upon A1 E1 240 kilonewton multiply with this length, that is of 300 millimeter, upon cross section area, that is 581 millimeter square, and the Young's modulus, that is 200 gigapascal. So after solving this, the deformation in section 1 is going to be 0.6196 into 10 raised power minus 3 meters. So this is the deformation is going to occur in section 1. Now for section BC, again using same expression, 2 P1 P2 L2 upon A2 E2. And to calculate the P2, again using the free body diagram and section this 2 section BC, so using equilibrium conditions, summation of forces along x-axis is 0. So minus P2 minus 180 kilonewton plus 120 kilonewton equals to 0. After solving this, we get this P2. This is minus 60 kilonewton. So using these values in the expression, del 2 equal to P2 L2 upon A2 E2. So here this P2 is minus 60 kilonewton multiplied with the length, that is of 300 millimeter, upon the cross section area of section 2, that is 581 millimeter square, multiplied with the Young's modulus, that is 200 gigapascal. Now after solving this, the value of deformation in section 2 comes out to be minus 0.1549 into 10 raised power minus 3 meters. Now solving for section CD, and we are going to use same expression as P3 L3 upon A3 E3. Now to calculate the value of this P3, again using free body diagram for the section CD and applying equilibrium, conditions as summation of forces along x-axis 0, so minus P3 plus 120 kilonewton equal to 0, so P3 is going to be 120 kilonewton. Now using this value in the expression, del 3 P3 L3 upon A3 E3. Now P3 is 120 kilonewton, length is of 400 millimeter, cross sectional area is 194 millimeter square, multiplied with the Young's modulus, that is 200 gigapascal. Now from this we get the value of deformation in section 3, that is CD, and the value is 1.237 to 10 raised power 3 meters. Now to calculate the total deformation in the component, we have to add this del 1 plus del 2 plus del 3. So this is going to be 0.6196 into 10 raised power minus 3 meters plus minus 0.1549 into 10 raised power minus 3 meters plus 1.237 237 10 raised power minus 3 meters. So total deformation in the component is going to be 1.7 into 10 raised power minus 3 meters, and this was required and we were calculating for this. Now considering another example, in this example let's say we have a rigid beam of BDE, and this is supported with link AB and link CD, and upon application of force of 30 kilonewton there is going to be some deflection in E. Since this beam BDE is rigid body beam, so there is not going to be deformation in this beam. However, this is made up of link AB is made up of aluminum material and this is made up of steel material. There is going to be some deformation in these two links, and because of that there is going to be some deflection at point B in the beam BDE and some deflection in the point D of the beam BDE. And if we calculate the deformation in link AB and link CD, then we can calculate the overall deflection in at point E in the beam BDE. So let's solve the problem. In this problem we have a beam BDE which is a rigid beam. No deformation in this beam. Then we have, this is supported with two links. This beam is supported with two links, link AB, and this is made up of aluminum material where the Young's modulus is 70 gigapascal, and the length of this link is 300 millimeter, and the cross section of this link is 500 millimeter square, and the link CD made up of steel with Young's modulus 200 gigapascal, and the length of this length is 400 millimeter, and the cross section area of this length is 600 millimeter square. So this information is required to calculate the deformations in these links. Now to calculate the forces at link A and link AB and link CD, we are going to use the free body diagram, and from this free body diagram we use or apply the equilibrium conditions to calculate the forces in link AB and link CD. So taking moment, summation of moment about B, about B. Now here we have minus 30 kilonewton that is applied at distance of 600 millimeter plus the force in link CD at distance 200 millimeter equals to 0. Now solving this, we get the force in link CD that is of 90 kilonewton. Now this positive sign indicates that there is going to be tension in the link. Now to calculate the force in link AB, summation of moment at D equals to 0. Now here again minus 30 kilonewton that is at distance 400 millimeter and minus force at link AB at distance 200 millimeter equal to 0. So after solving this, the force in link AB comes out to be minus 60 kilonewton. So this negative sign indicates that in link AB there is going to be the compression. Now to calculate the deflection at B and D, we are going to consider the deformation in basically AB. Instead of writing AB, I am just writing this B. So again using same expression PL upon AE. Now we have already discussed that the force we have just calculated, the force that is of in link B, that is of minus 60 kilonewton. The length of link this is 300 millimeter and the cross sectional area that is of 500 millimeter square, and the value of Young's modulus that is made up of aluminum is 70 gigapascal. Now after solving this, we have the value of deformation of link AB, which I am used to describe as deformate del B. The value is going to be minus 514 into 10 raised power minus 6 meters. Now for deflection in link CD, I am using this as del D. Again same expression PL upon AE. Here the force we have calculated that was 90 kilonewton and the total length that is of link CD 400 millimeter. upon the cross section area, that is of 600 millimeter square. The link is made up of steel having Young's modulus 200 gigapascal. So the deflection at D we are going to get, that is 300 into 10 raised power minus 6 meters. Now we have calculated the deflections at point B and at point D of the beam BDE. Now using simple geometric calculations, we can find the deflection at E in the beam. So we can easily calculate that. Now considering this, drawing this expression, that is going to be, this is a rigid body beam, so there is going to be the contraction in link at point B or link AB. There is going to be extension because there is a tensile force extension at link CD, and as a result this is going to come to loads. So using these values we have drawn this. Now we know these values, and first we will calculate the value of this x, and then we can calculate the value of this E star, which is in fact the deflection at point E. To do that, the first we have B star upon D star is equal to this BH upon HD. So for this we are having, let's say we write here 0.514 millimeter upon this D dash, that is 0.3 millimeter, equals to this BH. So this we are going to write as 200 millimeter minus X upon this HD, we have denoted with this X. Now dividing this with this and multiplying with this X, we are going to get the value of 1.713 X equals to 200 millimeter minus X, and after further solving we can write this X as 73.719 millimeter. So we have calculated the value of this X. Now using for this E star upon D star is equal to this HE upon HD. So using the values, now E star basically is the deflection at point E dash upon D dash, that is of 0.3 millimeter equals to, this HD is going to be 400 millimeter plus 73.719 millimeter upon 73.719 millimeter. So from this, we solving this, we get the value of deflection at point E, that is going to be 1.928 millimeters, and this was we were trying to find. To solve this problem, we have seen so far that first of all we draw the free body diagram and then apply equilibrium conditions. But there are situations where the external forces are more than the equilibrium conditions. So in this case, the problems cannot be solved by just only using the static equilibrium conditions. So these type of problems are known as the indeterminate problems. So we can define the indeterminate problems as where we have more unknown reactions than the available equilibrium equations. So such kind of problems are known as the indeterminate problems, and to solve that we use superpositioning method. In superpositioning method, we take one reaction as the redundant reaction by eliminating the corresponding sport. And then solve for the problem of the eliminated spore, and then also solve for the redundant reaction, and then adding both the solutions to get the final results. So this is a super positioning. Now let's solve one of the problem of same kind to use the superposition method. In this we have a component which is close fit from the top and from the bottom, and we have to calculate the reactions or find the reactions at A and B as RA and RB. And to do that, we consider that the component is without support which is at B, and as a result we are using the redundant direction that is RB. Then go for solving without this support, and that is going to be deformation in length we have to calculate, and then again we have to calculate the deformation using that redundant reaction we calculate, and the overall deformation we know that is going to be same, this del L plus del R is going to be 0, and from this method we are going to calculate the reaction at A and reaction at B using this approach. Now let's consider first that this is without support, and we are going to subdivide this into 4 sections. This is section 1 up till this stage, this is section 2, this is section 3, and this is section 4, and we are going to use same expression to calculate, that is deformation, that is del PL upon A E. Now considering the lengths are given and the cross sectional area is also given, so calculate the P for each section. Let's say for P1, since there is no application of any load, so this is 0. P2 is equal to P3, that is same, of 600 kilonewton, and P4 is going to be 900 kilonewton. You can do it by sectioning method, which we have done already in the previous case, but here I am going straight forward. As far as the length, that is of L1 equals to L2 equals to L3 equals to L4, that is same 150 millimeter. Now using expression as for the multiple sections, sigma I 1 to 4, so Pi Li upon Ai Pi. This E is also same for the entire component is made up of same material, so E is same for each case. So we can solve this as, since length is same and E is same, the Young's modulus we take outside. Now considering this first P1 upon A1 plus P2 upon A2 plus P3 upon A3 plus P4 upon A4, Now this is going to be now L upon E. The first expression, the P is 0, so this is going to be 0 plus this is 600 kilonewton force upon the cross section area, that is of 400 millimeter square, plus again for section 3 the force is 600 kilonewton upon the cross section area. Now this is 250 millimeter square plus P4, that is of 900 kilonewton upon cross section area, that is 250 millimeter square. Now after solving this we get the value of, that is del L is going to be 1.125 into 10 raised power 9 upon E. Sorry, we have already used here the value of the length, that is same for each case, that is 150 millimeter. So after solving this we get the value of this without that support. Now for the calculation of a redundant reaction, now we are using only two sections, this section 1 on the basis of cross section area, because the force that is going to be same for the two of the sections, only the differences of cross section area. So we are dividing it into two sections, section 1 and this section 2. Now solving for del R, again using same expression, 1 to EI Li upon AI EI. E is going to be same for all the cases. Now if we talk of force, that is P1, that equals to P2, and that is going to be negative RB. Now using these values in the expression, so del R is going to be, so taking outside the value of this RB, the force, minus RB upon E, so we are left with inside the 300 millimeter, that is of length, upon the cross section area of section 1, that is of 400 millimeter square, plus again the length, that is of 300 millimeter upon the cross section area, that is of 250 millimeter square. Now after solving this we get the value of deflection R, or the deformation, that is going to be minus 1.95 into 10 raised power 3 RB upon E. Now we have solved two parts separately, without support and then taking reaction redundant. We have calculated this. Now we are going to take the total deformation. That is going to be 0 value, as del L plus del R equals to 0. Now using these values which we have just calculated of del L and del R, that is going to be 1.125 to 10 raised power 9 upon E plus the minus 1.95 to 10 raised power 3 RB upon E equals to 0. Now after solving this, we get the value of RB, that is going to be 577 kilonewton. That is in fact the reaction at B. Now to solve for reaction at A, the other end, now considering a free body diagram, this free body diagram, and applying equilibrium conditions, so summation of forces along y-axis 0. So in this case RA minus 300 kilonewton force minus 600 kilonewton of force plus RB equal to 0. So RA is going to be RA minus 900 kilonewton, and using the value of RB, that is 577 kilonewton equal to 0. After solving this, we get the value of RA, that is 323 kilonewton. So this is the value which is reaction at A, and we have previously calculated RB, that is of 577 kilonewton, and this was the value of reaction at B. And with this we end our discussion here.